William Samoei Arap Ruto, deputy president of Kenya since 2013, has been declared winner of a keenly contested election in East Africa's powerhouse. Ruto won the election by a narrow margin, garnering 50.49% of the votes to his closest challenger Raila Odinga's 48.85%.
Russia's defense ministry says that a military warehouse near the town of Jankoy in northern Crimea had been damaged by sabotage, Russian state-owned news agency RIA reported. Russian President Vladimir Putin accuses the US of seeking to prolong the conflict in Ukraine.
The first ship carrying humanitarian food aid to Africa from Ukraine since Russia's invasion began in February has departed from the country's Black Sea port of Pivdeni, the Ukrainian government has announced. The United Nations chartered Brave Commander, which is loaded with 23,000 tons of wheat, departed for Djibouti on Tuesday with supplies destined for consumers in Ethiopia, Ukraine's infrastructure ministry said in a statement. At least 20 people were killed and 6 others injured after a sleeper bus collided with an oil tanker on the M5 motorway, also known as the Multan Sucker motorway near Bahawalpur on Tuesday. The passenger bus was on its way from Lahore to Karachi. Motorway officials said the accident was caused by speeding. The accident took place when the speeding sleeper bus went out of control and collided with an oil tanker on the Multan Sucker motorway, according to motorway officials. Traffic remained suspended on the accident spot at M5 motorway for several hours. The oil tanker and the bus caught fire soon after the collision, according to the spokesperson of the motorway police. The officers of the motorway police immediately reached the spot after the accident took place. Local police and Rescue 1122 teams also reached the spot.
Washington's behavior on the world stage risks direct conflict between the nuclear states, the Russian embassy in the US has warned. Today, the United States continues to act with no regard to other countries' security and interests, which contributes to an increase in nuclear risks, the embassy said in a statement on its Telegram channel. The U.S. steps to further engage in a hybrid confrontation with Russia in the context of the Ukrainian crisis are fraught with unpredictable escalation and a direct military clash of nuclear powers. The embassy noted that Washington has recently withdrawn from 2 key arms control agreements, the 1987 Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, which banned certain classes of land-based missiles, and the 1992 Treaty on Open Skies, which allowed for surveillance flights over each other's territories. The embassy urged the U.S. to take a closer look at its own nuclear policy instead of making unfounded accusations against the countries whose worldviews do not coincide with the American ones. Our country faithfully fulfills its obligations as a nuclear weapon state and makes every effort to reduce nuclear risks, the diplomats said.
Nabih Sadiq, a Pakistani doctor who championed women's health and rights and spearheaded the Breakthrough Action Plan adopted by 179 countries at the 1994 United Nations Population Conference, has died. Her son Omar Sadiq said his mother died of natural causes at her home in New York on Sunday night, 4 days before her 93rd birthday. Nabih Sadiq joined the UN Population Fund in 1971, became its assistant executive director in 1977, and was appointed executive director in 1987. She was the first woman to head a major United Nations program that is voluntarily funded. In June 1990, Perez de Cuellar appointed Sadiq to be Secretary General of the 5th UN International Conference on Population and Development in 1994, also known as the Cairo Conference. She became the architect of its groundbreaking program of action, which recognized for the first time that women have the right to control their reproductive and sexual health and to choose whether to become pregnant. At the Beijing Women's Conference a year after Cairo, Sadiq told delegates, "The first mark of respect for women is support for their reproductive rights. Reproductive rights involve more than the right to reproduce," she said. They involve support for women in activities other than reproduction, in fact liberating women from a system of values which insists that reproduction is their only function.
Be aware with the world. APN Broadcast Service.